Before we get into today's video, I just want to remind everybody that I do not have a degree in law enforcement. I am not a lawyer, a police officer, nothing like that. These are just my opinions that I'm sharing with you. So please do not take my opinions as facts. Thank you. All right, what's up, guys? I hope y'all had a good weekend. Let me tell y'all. Have y'all heard the case, and I'm sure a lot of y'all have, of Jessica Groves? That is one evil bitch. Okay? Excuse my language, but that's the only word to describe her ass. So, Jessica Groves, she's 39 years old, mother to Dylan Groves, who was born on January 10th of 2019. The father, Daniel Groves, he was 41, and they were in Ohio. They had been married for over 20 years, okay? Jessica was pregnant. She never went and got prenatal care. So when she went to the hospital, when she was in labor, they were trying to ask her name and stuff. She would not give them her name. She wouldn't tell them nothing. She was high as hell, okay? Supposedly she was doing, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the words or not, but heroin and meth, okay? And she was in full labor with no pain, okay? And the doctors wanted her to pee for them. She was not trying to pee for them. They had to catheter her to get the pee and to drug test her because they needed to know, what's going on. When they checked her, she was dilated to 10. She pushed 1, 2, and the baby was out, okay, with no pain, nothing. So the baby was, he had to stay in the NICU for 5 days. He was withdrawing. And they called CPS. So CPS gets involved, and Jessica, she's ready to get out the hospital. And mind you, while they're in the hospital, when they laid the baby on her, they said that she was just very disconnected. And then they never even asked for the baby to be brought into the room. So a nurse brings the baby in, and they're like, oh yeah, you can just put him over there. Like, what? Who does? When you first have a baby, you want, you know what I mean? Made no sense. Okay, so Jessica's dying to get out the hospital because I'm guessing she's withdrawn. So she leaves the hospital, and they end up giving the baby to a foster parent. Her name was Andrea. Within a day, Andrea had everything she needed for that baby. Her and her friends got it all together within 1 day. So the baby goes home with Andrea. She fell in love with that baby, okay? And they drug tested that, and he passes his drug test. So they're thinking, okay, you know what? We can give you the baby, but Jessica cannot be in the house. So they drug test him again. He passes it. So after 12, okay. So they give the baby to a foster mom named Andrea. And Andrea had everything ready within 1 day that she needed for that baby. So they send the baby home. They drug tested dad again. He passes. He's clean. And so they're working on getting the baby with him, but Jessica is not allowed to live there with him, which, come on, they've been together 20 years. That's not going to happen. So they set up a visit for the mom and dad to go to Andrea's house. Andrea comes in, and, she talks to him for about 5 minutes, and then she's letting them, have their visit with their baby. She said Jessica looked high, but Daniel didn't look high. So then when they leave, she calls and she tells him, I think she was high. Well, she had called them again to find out about the next visitation, and they said, oh, the baby's going to go home with the father on Monday. So Monday comes, after just 12 days of her having that baby, they send that baby home with the father. Okay, so Andrea tells the parents, call me if you need absolutely anything. Anything you need, call me. Gives them their phone number, but guess what? They never called, okay? So the mother was supposed to be doing parenting classes, meetings, drug counseling, and I guess she was doing them for a minute, and then she just quit. So by May 3rd, the family vanished. They weren't going to classes. They weren't going to meetings. CPS could not get a hold of them. They finally called the cops, and the cops go knocking on the door. They can't get a hold of them. They can't get in. Well, a cop ends up spotting them one day on four-wheelers, but they lost them because they couldn't catch up to them. They're on four-wheelers in the woods. So they knew they were still in town. So the cops go and get a search warrant on June 10th, and they bust into the door. So Jessica's there. They arrest Jessica right on the spot. Daniel barricaded himself. They had a standoff with him for 6 hours before they finally got him into custody. So when they take him in and they're talking to him, asking where the baby's at, both of them are not talking. I don't know where he's at. They're neither one of them are talking, right? So Daniel finally tells them, "Oh, we went to the crib. He was dead, and so we took him here." So the cops go looking wherever he sent them to. And he had sent him on a wild goose chase because the baby wasn't there. So the cops come back, get him from the jail, take him to an interrogation room again. This time, they put Jessica and Daniel in the same room, and they start whispering back and forth, very low. But in the police station, they can hear everything that they're saying. I mean, I'm sure they got loud, little what are they called? Amplifiers to be able to listen. But like on the interview, like for me watching it on YouTube, you couldn't really hear it. But so you can't really hear it. But they're whispering back and forth, and Daniel's like, "I didn't tell him where the body was," and she's like, "Oh, well, I didn't either." So then after they let them do that for a little while, then they separate them, and they start persuading Daniel. They got him to tell him where the baby was, and that's not unusual. They'll go in there and be like, "Oh, well, she already said where he was, and she said that it was all your fault, da 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 da," and then she's going to go to him and say, "Well, Daniel done said that it was all you, and that he done told us where he was." They do that a lot, and it works. A lot of people end up telling on themselves because of that. So after a lot of persuading, Daniel tells them where he's at. Well, this is a spring-fed well, 30 feet deep, okay, way back in the woods, like it's in there, okay. So the cops couldn't do nothing. They couldn't go down there or nothing. So they call a fire truck, and the fire truck is trying to pump the water out, but since it's a spring-fed well, they couldn't. So they start fishing. Well, one of them gets something. When they pull it up, it's 2 milk crates, and it's wrapped in chains, copper wire, and it's filled with rocks. And one of the volunteers said within minutes, you could smell the decomposing of a body, or the decomposition of a body. And he couldn't even go back over there. So when they take the crate I'm guessing they knew it was a baby, take the crate to the lab, they do an autopsy. You guys, this baby had fractured ribs, broken legs, broken arms, skull fractures, and he had meth in his system. How the hell did your baby have meth in its system? Makes no sense, okay? So when they go to trial, they're basically trying to say Jessica was the only one who did it, and Daniel just helped afterwards. Like, he helped hide the body. And Jessica's admitting she's guilty, but she's saying that it's an accident. But no, that's not the case, because they said all his wounds and stuff were at different stages of healing. Okay? So she knew this was not no accident. This wasn't an accident. She might, unless she's considering it because she was high and probably thinking the baby was the devil or something, and that's why she was beating him. Unless she's considering that an accident, but that's not an accident. Like, no, you're guilty. And Daniel actually said that he walked in one time and Jessica was beating the baby. Why he wouldn't put a stop to it, I'll never know, but it's mind-blowing. And the director, a CPS worker, she actually had to step down. And then they called Daniel's son, his 15 or 14-year-old at the time, he's 15 now, 14-year-old son, to the stand. And he said that he actually seen the baby with black eyes, bruises on his head. And when he asked what happened to the baby, Jessica, the mother, said, "Oh, it was from a dream catcher." Are you serious? So then when Jessica gets on the stand, and wait till y'all see this, that lawyer, that DA went in on her ass. But she got up there and she tried to victimize herself. She wasn't trying to answer questions. "Oh, I know I'm guilty," and da, da, da. You can't even feel bad for the bitch. You really can't. So Jessica ended up getting found guilty and got life without parole. And then Daniel was found guilty with life with the possibility of parole after 47 years. And then the 15-year-old boy is now living with his aunt. This is a sad story. This is a horrific story, and somebody's going to end up doing something to her in prison whenever they find out what the hell she did. I have no sympathy for anybody that does this to their kids.
Tell the jury how you killed this baby.
It was an accident.
not your excuse. How did you murder this baby? How did you cause these injuries?
I have sit here and admitted.
Answer the question, please. How did you cause these injuries?
It was an accident.
Not your excuse for what happened. How did you cause these?
And I have to live without my children. I'm done talking to you.
You are talking to me because you're sitting on the witness stand. Jury, how you caused that complete upper arm fracture?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No, I don't.
Worst day ever when Daniel was taken, but there was no entry about the worst day ever when you killed that baby.
I didn't kill my baby.
You didn't?
An accident.
How did you cause those injuries?
I don't remember.
Then how do you remember it was an accident? Look at this photograph, Jessica Groves. How do you not remember that? Tell the jury how it's possible that you would not remember doing that, if in fact you did it. Are you telling this jury that all of these injuries occurred at one time, in one incident?
No.
How many times did you attack baby Dylan?
I never attacked him.
Then how many accidents did you have, Jessica Groves?
I don't remember.
Tell them what the accidents were.
You keep asking me the same questions and
Because you're not
the same
answering the
answers.
question, ma'am.
I told you I don't remember.
When was it that your husband realized you were pregnant? Wait a minute. When was it you realized you were pregnant?
Probably when I was about 5.5 months.
Which was when? What month?
October.
When was it your husband knew you were pregnant?
Toward the end of October, beginning of November.
How is it your husband didn't know you were doped up the whole time you were pregnant?
Because I kept it a secret.
Why did you guys tell your son that a dream catcher hurt that baby?
Because it did.
Tell the jury about that. You said you didn't remember. Tell the jury what happened with that dream catcher.
I didn't think that dream catcher had injuries to that extent.
So that accident didn't cause his death.
No.
Tell him what accident did.
I don't remember.
Why didn't you tell your sister Stacy Hall what the truth was? You told her this had nothing to do with drugs. I swear. Nothing, Stacy. I would tell you. Who wrapped this baby's body in 6 layers of plastic and duct tape? Who did that?
I did.
You did. Daniel Groves didn't help you with that?
Yes, he did.
Tell him what happened. Tell him about that. Get all this stuff to wrap baby Dylan in.
Outside, I guess.
You guessed. No, I'm asking you for real. Where'd you get all this stuff?
I sure didn't get it out from under the kitchen sink.
Are you going to answer the question?
Outside.
You don't remember this chain, those 6 layers of plastic and duct tape, 3 padlocks, 12 zip ties, 8 wire ties, 18 rocks? You don't remember that?
Not in detail, no I don't.
That's not a whole heck of a lot of planning?
No.
Why would you do that if you didn't murder this baby on purpose?
Because I was scared.
Scared of what?
Losing everything.
Is that why you're in here telling this jury the story today?
Objection. She needs to allow her time to answer the questions.
She's not answering the question.
Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Don't forget to smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and I'll talk at y'all in the next one.